1. To Edith Bratt. Tolkien became engaged to Edith Bratt, whom he had met during his adolescence in Birmingham in January 1913 when he was 21. The following letter was written during his final year as an undergraduate at Oxford when he was studying English language and literature and at the same time was drilling in the University Officers Training Corps as a preparation for joining the army. Not dated. October 1914, Exeter College, Oxford.
My Edith, darling. Yes, I was rather surprised by your card of Sat morning and rather sorry because I knew my letter would have to wander after you. You do write splendid letters to me, little one. I am such a pig to you, though. It seems ages since I wrote. I have had a busy and very wet weekend. The Friday was completely uneventful and Sat too, though we had a drill all afternoon and got soaked several times and our rifles got all filthy and took ages to clean afterwards. I spent most of the rest of those days indoors reading. I had an essay, as I told you, but I didn't get it finished as Shakespeare came up, and then Lieutenant Thompson, very healthy and well in his new uniform, and prevented me doing work on the Sabbath, as I had proposed to do. I went to St. Aloysius for High Mass, and I rather enjoyed it. It is such ages since I heard one, for Farah wouldn't let me go when I was at the oratory last week. I had to pay a duty call to the rector in the afternoon, which was very boring. His wife really is appalling. I got away as soon as possible and fled back in the rain to my books. Then I went and saw Mr. Sissam and told him I could not finish my essay till wed and stayed and talked with him for some time. Then I went and had an interesting talk with that quaint man Earp I have told you of and introduced him, to his great delight, to the Kalevala, the Finnish ballads. Amongst other work, I am trying to turn one of the stories, which is really a very great story and most tragic, into a short story somewhat on the lines of Morris's romances with chunks of poetry in between. I've got to go to the college library now and get filthy amongst dusty books, and then hang about and see the bursar. R.
Footnotes. 1. A Shakespeare and L.L.H. Thompson of Exeter College. 2. Father Francis Morgan, 1857 to 1934, of the Birmingham Oratory, the Catholic priest who became Tolkien's guardian after the death of his mother in 1904. 3. L.R. Farnell, rector, i.e. head, of Exeter College, 1913 to 1928. 4. Kenneth Sissam, 1887 to 1971, who in 1914 was a research student and assistant to Professor A.S. Napier. He acted as Tolkien's tutor. See number 318. 5. Thomas Wade Earp, then an undergraduate at Exeter College. He later became known as a writer on modern painters. See number A3 for Tolkien's reference to him as T.W. Earp, the original twerp. Since Partridge's Dictionary of Slang records the first use of twerp as circa 1910, it is possible that Earp's name and initials may have given rise to the word. Earp was one of the editors of Oxford Poetry 1915, in which one of Tolkien's first published poems, Goblin Feet, was printed. 6. Amongst other work, I am trying to turn one of the stories, which is really a very great story and most tragic, into a short story somewhat on the lines of Morris's romances, with chunks of poetry in between. Tolkien's reworking of one of the Kalevala stories, the story of Kullervo, was never finished, but proved to be the germ of the story of Turin Turambar in the Silmarillion. For Tolkien's account of this, see number 163.7. Tolkien usually signed his letters to Edith Bratt, Ronald, or R., though he sometimes used his first Christian name John.